And we're live. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship for Formula 1. The 2020 season finally gets underway. We're back and we're better than ever for the fourth season of the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship main tier, and we kick things off at the Silverstone circuit for the British Grand Prix. Round 1 of 16 will take us to the home of British motor racing in the middle of England. In the commentary booth today is me, your commentator Miran Evji, joining you for another fantastic season of Formula 1 and lots of ACOC action. And oh boy, it will be fantastic to be back for Formula 1, obviously. 12 minutes for qualifying. The first stage of qualifying await us here. We have Samet Özkan, who is the first man out on track at the moment in the newly rebranded Alpha Tauri. But I think before we get underway with qualifying, as we always do, let's go through the tracks. So the Silverstone circuit, nicknamed the home of British motor racing, holds the famous title of being the first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix holder back in 1950. Was the first official Formula 1 race. It has hosted Grand Prix racing before that even, all the way back in the 1940s. This track was obviously first opened in 1948, and it has hosted the British Grand Prix ever since 1948 all the way up to 1985, and had a little bit of a break here in 86, but we've raced here ever since 87. You've had a lot of different racing series. I mean, every racing series under the sun has basically come here to this very, very legendary and prestigious circuit located in Silverstone. It is seen a lot of different revisions over the years track-wise, but this layout, which is the Arena Grand Prix circuit, which has been in place since 2011, boasts a track length of 5.891 kilometers, 18 turns, and we should expect lap times in about the 1:30s. Now, obviously, the 2020 Formula 1 cars a lot faster. A bit more downforce than a lot more downforce than the 2019 cars, so we're going to see quicker lap times and higher speeds compared to last season, which is going to be fantastic to see from the drivers. Samet Özkan goes across the line at 1:31.108, and I think now is a great time to start talking about transfers. So you have Alfred Klaus across the line, staying with Red Bull. However, he is accompanied not by Thomas Mandic. In fact, he is accompanied by the 2017 Drivers' World Champion Dennis Graf, who's left Ferrari, surprisingly, to move to rivals Red Bull this season in a shock transfer that no one expected. He's replaced Thomas Mandic at Red Bull. Mandic, who didn't have the greatest season in 2019, has now moved to Racing Point alongside Kai Cherezhny, as Mohamed Patel announced his retirement in 2019, but Racing Point will carry on with Cherezhny, and then yet another Red Bull dropout, Thomas Mandic. Now, Dennis Graf, as he has departed from Scuderia Ferrari, has been replaced by none other than Ferrari Academy driver Luca Farina, who obviously you saw a bit of a guest appearance at Ferrari last season when Miran Evji got injured in 2019. Speaking of Miran Evji, obviously, as we all know, he announced his retirement at the end of 2019, and he would go on to race in Super Formula instead, and replacing the Swede at Ferrari would be none other than Laban Zasnishkai, who moves over from Renault. Replacing Zasnishkai at Renault would be Franco Gamba. After his struggles with McLaren, he moved over to the Enstone-based outfit for 2020, and he will be accompanied by Wojtek Kulasek at Renault. And then replacing Gamba at McLaren is a name that a lot of people would not expect, but namely, it is a returning face, Lewis McIntyre, goes back to his Formula One roots as he returns to McLaren after a 3-season absence from the British team. But it's great to see Lewis back in orange, and that is fantastic. But obviously McIntyre left Toro Rosso and taking the vacant seat at Toro Rosso, which is now Alpha Tauri, is Emil Nilsson stepping up from Formula 2. The Estonian makes his Formula 1 debut today, along with a few other Formula 2 racers. Milka Singh obviously announced his retirement from racing as well. He will not be continuing on in Formula 1, and we wish Singh the best of the best endeavors. But replacing him at Alfa Romeo was Emilia Konishina, a name you might have heard of in Formula 2. She did fantastically in F2 and has earned the call-up to Formula 1. She becomes the second female driver since Giulia Cesetti in Formula 1. And speaking of Giulia Cesetti, there she is actually on your screens, replacing Maximilian Novikov after the contract broke down with the Russian driver. Williams were in need of a replacement, and Cesetti, who had a very, very strong Formula E season, was called up to come back to Formula 1 after a 3-season absence. Giulia Cesetti, once again, the Italian, is back in the top tier of motorsport, and it is very, very good to see Cesetti back. And with Williams as well, she will be accompanying Josef Frederik Schuto, who has renewed his contract with Williams. But 4.5 minutes to go then in qualifying, and we are having a bit of a surprise there. As you can see, Nilsson and the Mercedes, I think that is of Ennis Parachki, who are fighting amongst each other here in Q1. But time's coming in on the board there for Q1 as Parachki is going to try to go on the inside of Nilsson, and he spun on the curb, and that has not gone too well for Parachki. Already we're having a bit of drama here in only Q1, but Parachki has had his lap ruined there, but he's still going to continue on. But 4 minutes to go then in Q1, and it is Thomas Mandic in the Racing Point who currently is fastest, ahead of Jesper Johansson, the 2-time world champion, and Dennis Graf in the Red Bull. We have Ennis Parachki in 4th, Alfred Klaus in 5th, with Fernando Tossen in McLaren is 6th, Gamba is 7th in the Renault, McIntyre P8, Chereznia is 9th in the Racing Point, and then his fellow countryman Emilia Konishina is currently in 10th. And your bottom 5 at the moment consists of Samet Özkan in the Alpha Tauri, Giulia Cesetti in the Williams, Emil Nilsson in the Alpha Tauri, Victor Ahlbom in the Haas, and Josef Frederik Schuto in the Williams. Victor Ahlbom once again staying on with Haas for his 4th consecutive season, which is quite nice to see his loyalty to the American team. Victor Ahlbom, as he's just going to start his lap. Let's go through a lap of the Silverstone circuit with Victor Ahlbom as he heads into turn 1, Abbey through the left-hander, and then the flat out right of Farm, turn number 2, now into the first braking zone of Village. Trying to hit the apex then through the left-handers of the loop, and then Aintree should about be able to take this flat in these cars, and then down the Wellington straight. Now this is where you're going to be presented with your first overtaking spot into Brooklands and Luffield, into the left-hander of Brooklands, and you can really carry it through Luffield here, through the right-hander, stay on the inside line there, and then try and maximize your speed on exit. But you don't want to go wide then. Down through Woodcut, the paddock start-finish straight, and through the flat-out corner of Copse, and now arguably to the most legendary corners of the circuit, Maggots and Beckett's. And I'm going to let this corner speak for itself. And you can see absolutely wonderful as he heads out of Chapel and now down the hanger straight. As he heads down into Stowe. Very easy to run wide here, but it's a very, very fast corner as well. Then try to maximize your power on the exit as he heads into the Vale chicane. Make sure to watch out for that curve on the inside line. That one could be quite deadly. And then only one corner remains. Club. We saw Parachi here make a bit of a mistake through the final corner, down the Hamilton straight and across the line for Victor Album, and it is an improvement for the day, and up at the 17th he will go. Very, very nice to see that he is improving. However, it's not enough for Album to get himself out of Q1 just yet. Here's a man I did not mention, Daniel Wale, who really impressed on his Formula 2 campaign, has been stepped up to Formula 1 to replace Milka Singh. So Alfa Romeo will be opting for a all-rookie lineup of Konnichiwa and Wale, two drivers that performed fantastically in Formula 2 last season. Will be making this step up to Formula 1 as Giulia Cesetti goes up into 15th position. Very well done from the Italian. Currently has got herself out of Q1 for the time being. Obviously, Cesetti, who did infamously have quite an appalling 2017 season, will be wanting to make amends this season and prove herself to the Formula 1 grid, as the checker flag has now fallen for Q1. We're going to wait for the final cars across the line. There's Laban Zasnishka in 11th, the man who stepped up to Ferrari now, up into 9th. Ferrari obviously have shown signs of a struggle this season. They really haven't been up to spec at the moment. Victor Album is going to go across the line and see if he can get himself out of Q1. No, he cannot. And unfortunately, it's going to be the Dane out of the first stage of qualifying and in 18th position. Fernando Tost, in his first full season with McLaren, comes into the pit lane. He had a massively impressive 2019 and will be wanting to do much of the same this season. As Cesetti rounds Stowe and on to Vale. She's going to finish up the lap then, so let's see what it will be for Giulia Cesetti and if she can safely make it out of Q1 on her debut for Williams as she comes round Club. And let's see what it will be for Cesetti as she crosses the line. It's no improvement for Giulia Cesetti, and now she's gonna, I think she is safe on to Q2 then. Thomas Mandic, who currently is fastest in the Racing Point. That is a very big surprise to see the Silverstone-based outfit in their home race quite far up, as Mandic's gonna cross the line. He does not improve, but he doesn't need to. Mandic, obviously, who's very experienced around the circuit. Back in 2017, he took his first Formula 2 win at this circuit, as Lewis McIntyre is going to cross the line. McIntyre does not improve, but he is also safely through into Q2. And Daniel Wale, the first ever Chinese driver in Formula 1, should be the final car across the line, or I believe the second to last, as he goes across the line, and he does not improve. And he is the final car across the line, and there we go. That's Q1 done and dusted. And it is, and this is a very big shock, Thomas Mandic, fastest in Q1 from Jesper Johansson and Dennis Goffin. Your bottom five will be Jafari Blackwood, Samet Özkan, Victor Album, Emil Nilsson, and Josef Fredrik Schuto, who are out of Q1. Now, quite interesting, I think the biggest talking point there will obviously be Mandic, who went up to the top of the timing sheets and stayed there. So he did very well, I have to say so myself. Haas don't look like they've shown much improvement since 2019. Blackwood and Album knocked out of Q1. Which is a shame to see. Alpha Tauri in their first race as they rebranded from Toro Rosso, 17th and 19th. Özkan and debutant Nilsson will be hoping for a bit more today. But Giulia Cesetti got that Williams into Q2. Very well done from her, I have to say. So not badly done at all from the Italian driver. Johansson, though, trailing Mandic then second there in Q1. Obviously, Mercedes look to lead Red Bull at the moment. But Racing Point was really not a challenger we'd be expecting here in Silverstone. So maybe if things continue like this, we could have a Racing Point on the podium. Who knows? It is quite. I think anything could happen here. Laban Sasnishkai then. For Ferrari now. This man, I have to say, has had quite an extravagant Formula 1 career. And I think it would be best to go through it. So, he was obviously in Formula 2 with Rapax in 2017, scored a podium on his Formula 2 debut in Bahrain. And, his results were quite up and down. He failed to score a point for 5 races straight, all the way until he scored a second place at the Belgian Grand Prix, where he battled with Milka Singh for the race lead, but ultimately it will be Singh that will come out victorious in that race. Funnily enough, the man who would grab pole for that race, in which Sasnishkai was leading, was Luca Farina, his current teammate. So both of those guys have actually dueled with each other in Formula 2, which is quite a nice callback, I would have to say so myself. He finished second in Belgium and then fourth in Monza to throw himself into the title fight. However, things would change for the young Serbian, as obviously he was called up to race for Mercedes in Formula 1, filling out his reserve duties for the last 3 rounds of the 2017 season, meaning he made his Formula 1 debut with Mercedes, which is something I don't think anyone will be able to say again. Or maybe, who knows. But Sasnishkai, fourth on debut, he beat teammate Jesper Johansson at the United States Grand Prix, and then finished 6th at Portimao. And then with the DNF at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Sasnishkai unfortunately could not hold on to the Mercedes seat, and instead it was Alexander Arnold who then drove for Racing Force India. Even I get it wrong, but he drove for Force India, which got the Mercedes seat. So Sasnishkai would move to Williams for the 2018 season. Now, Williams obviously did not have a very, very good car. In fact, it was very slow. For those who do remember the 2018 season, they struggled to get out of the top 15, and Laban, obviously in Australia, absolutely showed signs of struggling with the car. It was obvious that he could not adapt to it, but he still did a very, very good job. And especially, I think one drive of his is very well remembered in the minds of Formula 1 fans, which is the Spanish Grand Prix in 2018, in which he qualified P11 in the Williams and battled with many, many drivers to score 1 point for Williams, and he would be Williams' only point scorer for about, I think it's over 15 races, which is a fantastic feat. I have to say so myself. But Laban, after a shock surprise, would move to Renault, partnering Wojtek Kulasek after Thomas Mandic left for Red Bull. Laban Sasnishkai was called up, and what a season he had, finishing P7, best of the rest, with 1 podium at the Japanese Grand Prix to his name, finishing the season on 57 points, soundly beating teammate Wojtek Kulasek on 19 points. And then with the retirement of Miranevgi from Formula 1, you had Maranello on the phone to Laban Sasnishkai, and as you know, he earned the drive for Ferrari, and that's where he is now. As we have the times coming in on the board, Alfred Klaus currently fastest with a 134.2, I think that is it. I think that is, or is that 34.3? I think it's a 34.3 actually. Tost is almost a second slower than Klaus, with Luca Farina and the Ferrari just a few hundredths off the McLaren at the moment. Emilia Konishina slotting behind Laban Sasnishkai at the moment. So there's Daniel Wale in 7th. Thomas Mandic is in 4th, behind Luca Farina at the moment. Enis Paratsky up into 5th, and Dennis Graf in the Red Bull goes fastest as Jesper Johansson slots into 2nd just behind Dennis Graf. And you can see Graf has no intention of slowing down. And I have to say, after having done commentary for the ACOC for 4 seasons now, it is very unusual to see Dennis Graf in Red Bull colors, but it is surely a welcome surprise to see the German world champion in Red Bull colors. And maybe, who knows, he could bring Red Bull with a fighting chance to the championship. Because as we know, Red Bull obviously have had issues with their second driver. Mohamed Patel, obviously, I think back in 2018, did not do the best job. Thomas Mandic struggled a lot in 2019, and now I think Red Bull will have a very solid pairing for 2020 as Alfred Klaus goes 2nd, just proving my opinion, making it a Red Bull 1-2 here in Q2, with Jesper Johansson trailing the Red Bull duo in 3rd, and Fernando Tost in the McLaren in 4th position. Klaus then obviously did not have the best of 2019 seasons compared to his 2018 season. He was hoping for a lot more in terms of championship, in terms of fighting for the championship. However, we see the Mercedes dominance unfortunately put a lot of the guys from the championship fight. There's Enis Paratsky in his first full season with Mercedes. Really, I have to say, Paratsky really impressive with Mercedes last season. Had a lot of fantastic duels with the guys up front and took a few race wins as well. I mean, 3 race wins in his first season with Mercedes. That is still pretty damn good for a man who didn't really adapt to the machinery, and he won on his debut as well. So still very impressive. And I think now he should be doing a very good job with the Silver Arrows, as Franco Gamba goes up into 5th position ahead of Fernando Tost. But we have all the 15 times on the board, and before we move on to Q3, before we talk about anything else, let's go through the bottom 5. So it is Giulia Cesetti in the Williams, then we have Labas Asnishkai of Ferrari, Emilia Konishina in the Alfa Romeo, Lewis McIntyre in the McLaren, Daniel Wale in the Alfa Romeo as well, as Emilia Konishina moves up into 11th. Can't quite get herself out of Q2 at the moment, as the 2 Alfa Romeos currently stuck just on the brink of getting into the 3rd stages qualifying. Just a little bit more and they'll be able to get in there, I'm sure, as Thomas Mandic improves up in 4th. However, he has stayed there. Kai Cherezhnia did not have the best of 2019, the best of seasons in 2019. Will be hoping for much better in 2020. Obviously, his teammate Mohamed Patel beat him quite soundly in 2019. However, Racing Point has still continued the faith in the pole, and especially with Patel's retirement. I think it will be it'll be interesting to see if Cherezhnia can get it together for 2020. As Lewis McIntyre, who is currently in the elimination zone, will be wanting to get out, as in the middle sector he's 4/10 off Dennis Graf, so it could be an improvement for the Brit if he decides to finish this lap up. But McIntyre, glad to see him back in the orange colors of the McLaren. It's nice to see him, and especially considering how bad McLaren were in 2017 in their Honda era, it's nice to see that McLaren are doing well, especially with a change to Mercedes power units. And McIntyre up into 6th. Very well done from Lewis McIntyre. As Emilia Konishina is next across the line. Konishina does not improve as she stays in 12th position. Wojtek Kulasek has been knocked into the elimination zone, as Kai Cherezhnia is just going to start his lap of the Silverstone circuit with about 30 seconds to go. He'll get this lap in then as we go on board with the Polish driver into Village. Thomas Mandic, his teammate, improves up to 4th, but is quickly usurped by Enis Paratsky, who goes up into 4th position just behind his teammate Jesper Johansson, as Cherezhnia heads through Aintree down the Wellington Straight. and then into the left-hander of Brooklands. Trying to use the brakes there through Luffield, staying on the inside line, trying not to go wide on the exit. Here's the checker flag, it falls, and we're waiting for 9 cars across the line. Kulasek, Wale, Sosnishka and Chesetti are in the pit lane, so they are definitely out. Konishina is the only driver who can get herself out of Q2 at this point. The rest are confirmed out. McIntyre's on the lap here, as well as the Brit is going to head through Stowe. Obviously, he'll be wanting to impress in his home race. Currently the lone Brit in Formula 1 after Mohammed Patel's retirement. He's the only Brit in F1 as he heads through the club corner. Can McIntyre get an improvement in? No, he cannot, but still P7 is a very respectable effort from McIntyre and his return to McLaren. But let's see if Konishina can get herself out of Q2, and she cannot. It's going to be P12 for the Polish driver. And what about the other Polish driver, Kai Szczęsny? He improves and goes up into 8th, knocks Luca Farina to 10th position. Farina should be safe into Q3, but this is quite alarming for Ferrari. P10 and P14 is not where the prancing horse wants to be this season. And considering where they were in 2019, it is not looking good for the Scuderia. Lewis McIntyre then still pounding around the circuit, trying to get as much time as possible, mastering the Silverstone circuit and getting used to the McLaren. As he heads through Maggots and Beckett's, taking it at absolute high speed. You can see it's absolutely fantastic to see these cars go around there. And they're so fast as well through Maggots and Beckett's. It's incredible to see how they just absolutely attack those corners. I mean, it takes a lot on the car and it takes a lot on the driver as well. But enough about that. Q2 is done and dusted. Dennis Graf leads Alfred Klaus in the second stage of qualifying. Red Bull 1-2 in Q2. However, your bottom 5 are Chesetti, Zasnishkai, Wale, Konishina, and Kulasek of Renault. And then that's the top 10 done and dusted. Red Bull v Mercedes is gonna be the big talking point of Q3. And then maybe even Racing Point. Racing Point could be in there. So it'll be very interesting to see how that will work. Dennis Graf currently is fastest. We'll see if he can carry on at the Q3. Mercedes, we've seen them do this before where they're not going all out in Q1 and Q2 and then finally pushing in Q3. So we could have Graf v Johansson v Klaus v, I'm going to say Mandic. Giulia Cesetti is in 15th, still a very respectable effort from the Italian. Laban Sosnishka down at 14th. I think he will be a bit frustrated with that, to say the least. The 2 Alfa Romeos of Konishina and Wale at 12th and 13th, and then Kulasek is in 11th. It'll be interesting to see what the Alfa Romeos can do in the race. Kulasek obviously not making it in, makes Franco Gamba the lone Renault in Q3. And speaking of which, there he is, the Italian who has switched to the French marquee for 2020. Obviously has been a very, very prominent figure in the midfield ever since 2017 when he made his debut for Force India. Stayed with the team for 2018 as they rebranded to Racing Point. And then in 2019 made the daring switch to McLaren, replacing Linus Timell at the Woking-based outfit. Unfortunately, he could really not perform and was beaten by Fernando Tost in his rookie season. So Gamba, who found no successes at McLaren, decided to make the switch to Renault for 2020. And we'll see how the Italian can do. Obviously, Renault have been quite a good team in the past few seasons. They've had their fair share of good drivers. Kulasek, Mandic, and Zasnishka obviously do come to mind. So Gamba could add himself onto that list, obviously. But either way, a very, very decorated driver, obviously. Holds a few podiums, I believe. I think only one podium, if I am correct. Yeah, one podium, which was scored at the 2017... I need to think here. When was it? The 2017 Belgian Grand Prix, yes. A lot of the top guys really struggled that race. There was quite a lot of DNFers, and he kept it calm and drove a very clean race and made a few overtakes to finish a very good P3 in that race. It goes a bit wide through Aintree, but then down the loop, we'll see if this lap will be any good or if he's just going to abort it. Don't know. Heading through Lutfield then, and then through Woodcut, down the paddock start finish straight, and then on to the right-hander of Copse. You can see just the two downshifts there, and then just through Copse like that. It's nothing. Then Maggots and Beckett's, and you can see there. Now he goes on the brakes. And then gets the power down once again through Chapel and down the hanger straight. So 108.2 in the middle sector. And then down into Stowe corner. Doesn't take the inside line. I think there's someone side by side with him actually. Yeah, that's a Mercedes. I didn't even see that. Yeah, that's the Mercedes of Jesper Johansson as he goes over the curb a bit though. That's not been too good for Franco Gamba, but he's still, that is surely gonna ruin his lap. But I did not see Jesper Johansson there at all. I don't know where he came from. Either way, Franco will not be happy with that, I think, being blocked by the two-time world champion. I think he's gonna have something to say about that. But Jesper Johansson is gonna start on his lap. The two-time world champion in the now black Mercedes, I have to say. The all-black Mercedes looks oh so good in my opinion. It is a fantastic livery and it looks really, really slick. As Johansson heads down Woodcut and down the start-finish straight, the two-time world champion will be wanting to kick it off with a bang. There's Enis Parachki up into first, ahead of Tomas Mandic and Luca Farina. Let's see, Farina can't carry that Ferrari up a few more positions. Dennis Graf is in second, can't quite get out the Mercedes. And Alfred Klaus likewise cannot do that either. Mandic currently in fourth from Farina, Chereshnia and Gamba. We're in for Johansson. Now my brain's just completely letting go. I think it's Johansson, Chereshnia, and Tost, right? Fernando Tost. Oh, I'm so sorry. Fernando Tost there, as Johansson only fourth at the moment, behind the two Red Bulls of Graf and Klaus, with a 133.3. There is Farina. I think that's the reason why. I think Farina is holding up Johansson. If that is Jesper Johansson, obviously. Could be Parachki, actually. That is Enis Parachki, I am correct. But with DRS, he's going to try to get past the Italian. Will Luca be kind to the Macedonian as he goes a bit wide? Have to correct his line there to avoid going into the Italian. But Enis aborts his lap and comes into the pit lane. Mandic in the pits as well. Farina is going to have his lap botched a bit, so he's going to continue and I think set a new lap here. So he has through turns 1 and 2. There is Jesper Johansson heading through Maggots and Beckett's. Mercedes, who obviously hold one win at the circuit back in 2018 when Alexander Arnold took his first race win in Formula 1. But other than that, this has actually been a majority Red Bull circuit. The Red Bull have benefited the circuit. In 2017, you had Mohamed Patel take a home race win here. In 2019, you had Alfred Klaus take a victory here as well. So Red Bull should theoretically have the advantage at this circuit as Johansson crosses the line. Jesper does not muster up an improvement, unfortunately, for the two-time world champion Franco Gamba. Neither does he get an improvement in. Lewis McIntyre across the line in his home race does set an improvement. However, he stays in 7th position as Kai Cherezhnia is on a lap, currently down in 10th. He wanted to get a bit higher if he wants to score points to kick off his 2020 and hit the ground running. Through Stoke corner goes Cherezhnia, and then into the Vale chicane, through the left and into the right, and then just through Club, and then unleash those horsepowers down the start-finish straight, and unfortunately no improvement for him. It is for Luca Farina, but he does not improve. Farina and Cherezhnia, who obviously were title rivals for a little while in Formula 2, those two battled with each other in the championship, and now they are in Formula 1. I guess it is quite a small world. Fernando Tost currently in a brilliant 5th. We'll see if he can improve on his lap as he heads through the Vale chicane, as the checkered flag now falls, and it is going to be Fernando Tost, the first man across the line, as he goes across the line now, and it is no improvement for Fernando Tost. What about Jesper Johansson? Can the Super Swede improve on his lap? No, he cannot, and Johansson will be starting 4th here at the British Grand Prix. Now you have a top 3 in the pits, and I don't think Tost and Mandis will be able to do anything, if I'm being honest. So it is looking to be in the favor of Enis Parachki. Either way, you have Kai Cherezhnia on a lap at the moment, and he's 1.1 seconds off in the middle sector. So I don't think Cherezhnia will be improving on this lap, unfortunately. So I think it is just a bit of a sighter lap for Kai. You got Farina there behind. Farina might try and get an improvement, and we'll see if the Italian can manage that, though, as Cherezhnia goes across the line. No improvement for him. What can Luca Farina do? Nothing. And that means that for the first round of the season, it is Enis Parachki who takes pole for the British Grand Prix. Right then, that is qualifying done and dusted, and it is Enis Parachki, the North Macedonian driver, taking pole position ahead of the two Red Bulls, and then his teammate Jesper Johansson, the Red Bulls, sandwiched in between the two Mercedes. I think this is going to be an interesting battle to witness. But Enis Parachki, obviously, could this be his breakout season? Who knows? Either way, it's going to be a long race ahead of us, and we'll see what will happen. Mercedes v Red Bull, as I previously said, will probably be the biggest talking point of the race. Dennis Graf starting in 2nd. We're going to have Parachki v Graf once again. You remember their battle at the 2000 at Belgium last season was absolutely epic for those who witnessed that. Klaus in 3rd and Johansson in 4th, the two Swedes. And then McLaren with a very, very good job, 5th and 7th. They're going to score some very, very nice points if they manage to keep it clean and drive to the end. You have Gamba, the lone Renault, and Farina, his fellow countryman, and the lone Ferrari in 9th. Ferrari have not got the start of the season right when they're 9th and 14th. But yeah, we'll see what they can do. Obviously, Zlatan Sosnishkai, we're not really known for his qualifying, but he is known for his charges through the field. So I think if we keep a watchful eye on the Serbian, he could put up a nice little performance today. But I think Racing Point should be also ones to watch. Mandic in 6th and Cherezhnia in 10th. They could be on for some good points today if they keep it clean. With Silverstone, as we know, usually does result in drivers getting their elbows out a bit. We saw that in the Formula 3 race a few days ago, but hopefully we should have it clean. Either way, let's go down to the starting grid, and for the first time this season, it's time for the starting grid before lights out for the British Grand Prix to kick off the 2020 Formula 1 season, and it is Enis Parachki who is on pole position for the British Grand Prix, followed by Dennis Groff in his debut for Red Bull, starts in second. The 2017 World Champion will be wanting to take Red Bull's third win at Silverstone, and it is his teammate Alfred Klaus on the second row in P3, with fellow countryman and two-time world champion Jesper Johansson in fourth position. Fernando Tost, once again a brilliant qualifying for the Polish driver, in fifth, with Tomasz Mandic in sixth position. Lewis McIntyre starts in seventh with his return to McLaren, with Franco Gamba in eighth, Luca Farina lowly P9, and then Kai Szczereznia in 10th position, rounding out the top 10. P11 is Wojtek Kulasek for Renault, and then the two Alfa Romeos of Emilia Konishina and Daniel Wale, P12 and P13. Still a respectable effort from the two rookies. Laban Sosnishkai, a lowly P14. He won't be too happy with that, I reckon. And then Giulia Cesetti in the Williams is P15 on her return to Formula 1. Jafari Blackwood for Haas starts in 16th, with Samet Özkan for AlphaTauri in 17th. Victor Albom is in 18th, and the final two cars on the grid are Emil Nilsson for AlphaTauri and Josef Frederik Schuto for Slovakia and Williams. As we go down to the grid then, Enis Parachki on pole for the first time in Formula 1. We have 6 lights for 2020. And we're underway with the British Grand Prix, and it's a slow getaway for Dennis Groff, but Parachki leads off the line then. I think Johansson side by side with Klaus into turn 1, and there's someone off, and that's the Red Bull, that's Klaus, and he's gone into the gravel into the first corner. Has he made contact with Jesper Johansson? I wonder, but he's out into the first corner. Mandic goes up into fourth, Johansson is in third, as Parachki leads from Dennis Groff. There's Luca Farina defending from Kulasek, who himself is battling with Emilia Konishina for points. Konishina goes on the inside and is gonna get ahead into the points. Sosnishka is already making gains there in 12th. Is gonna try and make it 3 wide into Brooklands, but it won't work, as Konishina is being attacked by Kulasek. The Czech driver is gonna try to get the Polish driver for 10th position, as Kulasek is pushed out wide by the Polish woman, as he is going to have to settle for P11 and has not got the best of exits, as into Kops. Laban Sosnishka is going to try to line up a move on the Czech driver and his former teammates, but nothing is going to come out of that just yet, and he himself has not got the best exit. A bit of like domino effect, as Giulia Cesetti in the Williams is going to go side by side, but they make contact through Maggots and Beckett, still keeping him wheel to wheel. Can Cesetti do it on the Ferrari driver as the two go wheel to wheel? There's a crash at the back though. That's Josef Frederik Schuto and Victor Albom who've come together, but Sosnishka and Cesetti not done yet as they headed to Stowe. There's Gamba and Mandic going wheel to wheel at the end of the Vale chicane, as Gamba's going to be on the outside. Mandic goes hopping over the curb, and that's going to cost the Croatian, but Gamba slipping up to fourth. Fantastically done from the Italian, as Mandic himself now coming under pressure from Fernando Tost, the former Formula 2 driver, as there's Blackwood, who's had a bit of a moment, down in 17th, as Özkan and Nilsson getting his elbows out as he battles his teammates. McIntyre then battling with Czereznia defending from Luca Farina. The two F2 title rivals going head to head for points for 8th position here. We're already having fantastic battles in the midfield as Farina tries to make a move, but he's going to be under pressure from Emilia Konishina on the inside line. Look at that! The Ferrari versus the sister Alfa Romeo, as Konishina tries to hang it on the outside, but she's being forced out wide, getting a taste of her own medicine. Here comes Wojtek Kulasek on the inside line of the Polish driver. Is going to try to fight back against the Alfa Romeo, but he can't do much. Konishina is going to try it. It's hard to keep track of this, but Konishina is going to have to settle for 11th, but it could maybe be 12th, as Sosnishka is going to try it on the Polish driver. The two going wheel to wheel, and they almost touch, as Sosnishka goes wide through Maggots, through Beckett, and it's Chapel. It's going to be Konishina who defends from the Serbians. Sasnička can have to settle for 12 as Wale gets past Giulia Chisetti. There's Tost battling with Mandic. These two have been going on for 2 laps as Tost then round the outside. Who's going to break later into Vale as Mandic wants to get up over the curb, and Fernando Tost up into 5th position. And on to lap 3, we have DRS now enabled. You can see how close this battle for 4th is between Gamba, Tost, Mandic, McIntyre, and even Cherezhnia stretching down all the way until 8th position. McIntyre's going to try to make a move here, but they're going to have to wait with Farina in 9th and Kulasek in 10th. And now I can breathe out. Goodness me! What a return to Formula 1 we're having! And we're having lots and lots of action. There's Sasnička under pressure from Daniel Wale, or that's Emilia Konishina, sorry. Konishina, who's being put under pressure by Laban Sasnička in the Ferrari, who's trying to swing around the outside, but he can't do much there. He's not close enough. As they head into Luffield, he's going to have to stay behind and wait patiently to try and get past the Polish driver, but he is in the slipstream of that Alfa Romeo, though he isn't close enough to try anything into Copse just yet. Still trailing the pole. Might he try anything into Maggots and Beckett? He is going to pull out of the slipstream. He's going to try it on the inside line. Nothing happens though just yet as he goes a bit wide. Does have to adjust this line as he tries to follow the Alfa Romeo. Going a bit further up the field, here is Lewis McIntyre, who's going to try to attack Tomas Mandic in 6th, and he's going to go to the inside into Stowe. The Brit versus the Croatian, the two going wheel to wheel. Mandic, though, remains adamant, defends his position from the Brit in the McLaren, as McIntyre is going to try to follow it through. There is Konishina, and she hops over the curb, but still side by side with Sasnička. Sasnička on the inside gets it done. On Emilia Konishina, this Daniel Wale on the inside. He hops over the curb, though, into Club, and that's absolutely compromised him on exit, because here comes Giulia Chisetti on the inside line of the Chinese driver, and she gets it done. Swoops through Abby, but the battle is not over yet between the Italian and the Chinese driver, as Wale is on the outside. Chisetti does not get the best of exits, and that is going to allow Daniel Wale to defend 13th position from the Williams. And Chisetti, who might have to watch out for Emil Nilsson, the Estonian in the Alpha Tauri there in 15th, who is looking to make up a few positions of his own. But I think now would probably be the best time to review incident. I think if we could get a replay of what happened to Alfred Klaus there at the start, I think he must have tangled with Jesper Johansson. So we're gonna see the replay here. At the start, there's Alfred Klaus. I think we get the onboard here. I think it will be a bit better since the doesn't show much. But this is off the line then, and he gets an alright start, basically equal to his teammate. I think Johansson behind gets a good start. And that's a turn 1, and oh, there it is, and he gets tagged by Johansson. And we're gonna see onboard with Jesper Johansson. We're gonna see what he was missing onboard. And into turn 1, tries to go on the inside, and I think contact just. I think that's a racing incident, in my opinion, but we don't know for sure how that is. And then we're gonna see this is Victor Albon. Look at that, they were 3 wide, and this is side by side with Josef Fredrik Schuto now through Maggots and Beckett's, and Albon is ahead, and there's Schuto on the inside line, and goes a bit too wide, and Schuto tries to re-enter on the circuit and just goes into Albon. I wonder if we could get the onboard of Schuto there, see what happened. But yeah, Albon forced him out wide there, so I think that is going to be the fault of Victor Albon. You can see that he's on the inside, and Albon kind of forced him out wide and loses control and just goes straight into the Haas. And I mean, to be fair, there's not really much Josef could have done there, so I think that is going to fall on Victor Albon and on his fault. We'll see if any penalties will be dished out. There is Lewis McIntyre chasing down Tomas Mandic through Maggots and Beckett. He's in a bit of a racing point sandwich at the moment as Kai Cherezhnia is in 8th. As they're going to head out of Chapel, and now he's going to have DRS. Mandic obviously with no DRS at the moment, considering he's 3.2 seconds off Fernando Tost. But McIntyre is going to try it on the Croatian. The two going wheel to wheel. Mandic on the outside line. Can't quite hang on to him, And there's Kai Cherezhnia. He's going to go on the inside line of Lewis McIntyre, but it has not gone very well for him as Dennis dropped. That's the fast lap of the race. Luca Farina could get involved into this battle. You can see how close it is in the midfield here as Dennis dropped has a fast lap. He's 8/10 off Enis Paratsky at the moment, so he could be catching up to the Macedonian driver who did build up quite a gap in the first part of the race. There's Farina on the inside line of Kai Cherezhnia, but he hops over the curb, and that is not going to benefit him in the slightest as Kulasek is having a look on Luca Farina. Lamas Nishka was ready to go on to the Czech Renault driver in the background, but he's going to have to pick up the scraps from this battle as the two have DRS. Kulasek and Farina. Kulasek's going to be on the inside, heading into Brooklyn, though. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It is Farina around the outside. He's going to have to hold the inside line, though, and I think he is doing that quite well as Kulasek goes a bit wide, though, and here comes Lamas Nishka. There he is on the inside, and he gets through into the paddock start-finish straight. Kulasek won't let that go, though. He's going to be on the inside line through Kops, but he can't quite hold it wheel to wheel, and he now hasn't got the best of exits. Emilia Konishina wants a piece of the pie as the two are going to go wheel to wheel through Magnuson Beckett's. Konishina is going to try to push him out as he almost loses it there. They make contact and code red for the both of them as they almost lost it, and that could have ended in tears for the pair of them. As Lewis McIntyre's now going to try it on the inside. Is he close enough to do what's on this? There's just about a corner between the two, but it doesn't get the best of exits. Is Cherezhnia going to try anything? But he might be a bit too preoccupied with Luca Farina in the Ferrari there behind. And Farina now, who has his teammate Zasnishka there in 10th, who's made up quite sizable gains in the first 6 laps, already up into 10th and into the points for Laban Zasnishka. As Farina is still chasing down Kai Cherezhnia, doesn't try anything into Village. Might he try anything into the loop? He has a look on the inside of the Polish driver. Kai leaves the space for Luca here as they head through Aintree. They're just going to be about wheel to wheel, but he can't do much. And that, look at this, it's compromised him on exit because here comes Lamas Zasnishka, the two prancing horses wheel to wheel on their debut for Ferrari, or for Zasnishka at least, but they head through Brooklands and Luffin's. Zasnishka on the outside. He's going to be pushed to the outside. Onto the gravel he goes. And here comes Wojtek Kulasek. He's going to try to snap and nab away the points from Zasnishka. And Laban is going to try to not let that slide as he goes on the inside line. Can't quite do anything there. Emilia Konishina is going to try to make it one worse for Laban Zasnishka as she's going to try to go wheel to wheel with the Serbian. But Konishina can't quite find the opportunity to try and punch past the Ferrari, so she's going to stay behind for 12th position. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to drink a bit of water. As we just witnessed, McIntyre, who had a bit of a look on Mandic into Stowe, I think that was, as there is Özkan, who's going to pass his AlphaTauri teammate Emil Nilsson, as Jafari Blackwood is trailing the two AlphaTauris as well. There's Luca Farina still chasing down Kai Cherezhnia, as he might have a bit of a look. Is he gonna? I don't think he's close enough just yet. Cherezhnia obviously in the DRS train behind McIntyre and Mandic at the moment. And McIntyre, obviously, who has been stuck behind Thomas Mandic for the majority of these laps now, as Fernando Tost chases down Franco Gamba in the Renault. These two are having quite the battle. They're separated from everyone else here at the moment, but it is the McLaren in their home Grand Prix versus Franco Gamba, the man in his debut for Renault, in 4th position, as he is going to be on the DRS. Tost, we'll see if he can do anything as they head into Stowe. Nothing just yet. Tost playing it patient as there's Blackwood around the outside of Emil Nilsson into Stowe. Very nicely done from the Jamaican on Nilsson. I wonder if we could get a replay of that overtake. Thank you. Let's see this then. So there was Nilsson defending from Blackwood. You see, he went over the curb there a bit. And then this is into Cops. And you can see he's got the slipstream here. And it's got quite a sizable run on the Estonian, and he goes to the outside even. And then Nilsson pushes him a bit wide there. You can see he's absolutely on the edge. And then through Chapel, he gets it done. That is beautiful from Jafari Blackwood. Well done to the young Jamaican. As we go a bit further up the field, Lewis McIntyre, who is still on the back of Thomas Mandich now. It is going to be imperative for the Brit to get out of this little train. And he has to clear Thomas Mandich in the Racing Point. Either way, Racing Point has done a fantastic job so far. P6 and P8, that is going to help them massively in the Constructors' hunt. At the opposite end of this train, Luca Farina in 9th, who still is chasing down Kai Cherezhnia in 8th. There is Fernando Tost in 5th. Still chasing down Franco Gamba, still remaining patient. Tost, as we know, driver that can demonstrate maturity beyond his years. Obviously, he proved that in 2019 in his debut season. And he does so in 2020, trying to find the opportunity, trying to find the way past the Renault. At the moment, nothing is happening. Same goes for the lead. I think Parachki has been pulling away from Dennis Graf, but Tost in the DRS. You can see how close he's getting, but it just isn't getting close enough to Franco Gamba in 4th. But someone who is getting close is his teammate Lewis McIntyre, who tries it on the inside of Thomas Mandich, but just isn't getting anything there, as Cherezhnia is now going to give Lewis a run for his money. Lewis goes over the curb, and nothing. It still turns into a bit of a stalemate, though I think McIntyre did not get the best of exit there. Mike Cherezhnia tries something into the first corner. No, he stays behind, but you can see he is close to the back of McIntyre. Cherezhnia does not get the best exit to farm, and here comes Luca Farina on the inside line, not before he goes over the curb a bit, and you can see he's completely botched his chances, and offense is now going to turn into defense for Luca Farina, as Wojtek Kulasek is going to be on the inside line of the Italian, who does not get the best exit, and it's going to be double trouble for Kulasek, because here comes Lavas Zasnishka, the other Ferrari, is going to try to back up his teammate as he goes on the inside through Brooklands and then into Luffield, kind of the outside line, the more unfavorable line through Luffield. You can see he's going to be pushed out there, and Zasnishka has lost out there. That's not gone too well for the Serbian, unfortunately, as he tried to help out his teammate there. Kulasek now basically has free reign to chase Luca Farina for P9. As we look once again to this battle, Tost versus Gamba. Tost just consistently on the back, waiting for Gamba to slip up into a mistake. There's McIntyre now on the inside of Stowe of Mandich, but Mandich defends on the outside line, and I have to give it to Thomas Mandich. He has been just absolutely on the defense for these last few laps from Lewis McIntyre, and he's been not showing signs of cracking under pressure, and just remaining ice cold. So very, very well done from the Croatian at the moment. As there is Farina once again on the inside line, but he makes contact with Cherezhny and spins him round, in fact. And I fear that might be Cherezhny out of the race. And that was naughty from Luca Farina, and it has sent Kai Cherezhny out of the British Grand Prix. And that was the slightest of touches which just sent the pole round, and I cannot believe it. I think that's going to be Kai Cherezhny out unless he can get the car running again. And the witness Tost chasing down Franco Gamba as they head through Maggots and Beckett's. Wonder if we can get a replay there, and Kai Cherezhny is out. That's a massive shame for the Racing Point, who was running oh so well. Has tossed into Stowe, chases down Gab, but nothing happening just yet. I wonder if we could get the replay of what happened to Cherezhnia. Not yet though, as we're going to witness McIntyre and Mandic go wheel to wheel. But Mandic is going to hold him off on the outside line. Is McIntyre going to try anything into Stowe, but they make contact through Vale, and McIntyre just forces his way through. What is going on with the racing points? That was dirty from Lewis McIntyre, but he is through into 6th, and I think penalties will most likely be given out for that. But McIntyre just pushed Mandic out of the way. Now then, we're going to see the replay of what happened to Kai Cherezhnia. And I think we get the onboard here, the rear view onboard. That would be... we're going to go with Farina here. So through into the first corners, you can see gets the slipstream here on Cherezhnia. He's going to pull to the inside line. But he kind of just shuts the door and just slightly makes contact with the rear wing of Cherezhnia. Just sends him spinning. That is a shame for him. But let's see what happened to Mandic as well. And this is Lewis on board with Lewis McIntyre then. And this was into the Vale chicane. So into Stowe. You see, he goes on the inside line of Mandic, and they're wheel to wheel here. And Mandic obviously gets the better exit. And that's going to allow him to be ahead. But McIntyre does catch up to him and just touches his rear wheel. That sends him spinning, and they make contact again there. And that's very aggressive from Lewis McIntyre. I think the stewards will have something to say about that, obviously. But Mandic is down to 7th now. Farina in 8th. Might have some penalties for him as well, but he's going to be fighting with Kulasek for 8th now. As Wojtek Kulasek is going to try to get past the Italian. Sasnishka is going to try it on Wojtek Kulasek on the inside line. But he's going to have the outside through with Luffield, so that's not going to be very favorable. He's going to lose it out here once again, as you can see. And yet, there comes Emilia Konishina, who's going to try it on the Ferrari. She does have the overspeed compared to the Serbian, as Laban switches from the outside to the inside into Kops. But it does not work for the Serbian, and Emilia Konishina ahead for 10th position and gets into the points in the Alfa Romeo. Luca Farina then in 8th, still. Now it's his turn to try and get past Thomas Mandic as Lewis McIntyre pulls away. Might be a bit of damage to that racing point, so yeah, he could be holding up Farina here. So look at Farina's teammate Asnishka, who's trying to get past the Ferrari sister car, the Alfa Romeo of Emilia Konishina, in 10th position. Farina himself is still under pressure from Wojtek Kulasek in 9th. As we look a bit further up the field now, the battle for the lead of Enis Parachki, Dennis Groff and Jesper Johansson. It's one Red Bull versus the two Silver Arrows of Parachki and Johansson. Now Groff, who has been looking very good on the pace, has set the fastest lap, obviously will be one of the challenge Enis Parachki once again here at Silverstone, as they head through Maggots and Beckett's, through the left and into the right. So you can see trying to follow the Mercedes through, and the Mercedes, I have to say, looks absolutely planted through the corners. But Groff, the world champion, does the best he can to try and stay on the back of the Macedonian in the Mercedes, as they head into the Vale chicane. There's Jesper Johansson just hanging on by a second, but he does not have DRS. Luca Farina, though, does have DRS, and he is going to try it on Thomas Mandic on the inside line into Stowe. Can he get it done on Mandic? No, he cannot. And Thomas Mandic is going to stay ahead for the time being, because Kulasek is there as well, as Konishina defending from Laban Sasnishka as we speak, as they all head through Club Corner and down the start-finish straight into the braking zone of Abbey. Now this is where we're gonna see a lot of moves happen, and Farina, obviously, if he wants a chance of catching up to Lewis McIntyre, it's going to be now or never for him, as he needs to get past Mandic, as there's Asnishka who's trying to get past Konishina on the inside line into the loop, but Konishina gets the better exit, both with DRS side by side down the Wellington straight and into Brooklands. It's going to be Sasnishka on the inside and Konishina on the outside line. Who is going to get this done, though? I think it is Konishina, as Konishina is going to be on the inside, but the two are going to be wheel to wheel, and Sasnishka does in fact lose out to the position as he gets a bit of a worse exit. As Sasnishka, it might be double trouble for the Ferrari, as Daniel Walla is there in 12th, and he has caught up to these guys. But Sasnishka, you can see he's on the back of Emilia Konishina, and he's going to try it into Maggots, but he does back out on the move. Not before going a bit wide, though, and that is going to invite Daniel Walla to the battle. And as they head out of Chapel, DRS engaged for Zasnishka, and he is going to line up alongside the Polish driver. And into Stowe, he should be able to get ahead into Stowe. I think he is easy ahead. Yes, he is. And Laban Zasnishka gets it done into Stowe. Not before Daniel Walla wants a shot at his teammate, as the two go wheel to wheel, and Walla does in fact get past Emilia Konishina, as Konishina is going to be under pressure from Chisetti, but Chisetti goes over the curb as she tries to attack Emilia Konishina, and this brings Samet Özkan into the battle. All of it, it's a domino effect here, as Özkan gets his elbows out and pushes out Chisetti, and that is Chisetti down to 14th, and it might be 15th even, as Blackwood tries it on Chisetti, but he gets it all wrong as he tries to get on Chisetti. And he stopped on the side of the track, and I think, can he get it back rolling? Yes, he can, and that sent him down to last place, or second to last place, actually. But Konishina is now down in 12, really wanted to re-overtake her teammate Daniel Walla in 11th, as we witness the battle for the lead once again. Dennis Groff trying to catch up to Enis Parachki. As they head through Maggots, or they head out of Maggots and Beckett's, now down the hangar straight. Farina is going to try it on Mandic, but I don't think he has the overlap to be able to get past Thomas Mandic for the time being. He's going to be on the outside, but Thomas is going to block him into Vale. Kulasek has been hanging on to this battle for I don't even know how long now, but this battle has been going on for a very, very long time. As we head into Village, you can see that Farina a bit more distance to Mandic now, about 0.6 to the Croatian, but Kulasek is there, and so is Laban Sasnishkai in 10th. And there's Jesper Johansson as we go a bit further up the field. There's Jesper Johansson in 3rd position, who's chasing down the Red Bull of Dennis Groff through Maggots and Beckett's. We know the world champion, the two world champions, can be ruthless while fighting each other, not in the aggressive and crashy sense, but obviously that they will spare no inch of the track when fighting each other. As there's Farina chasing down Mandic through Maggots and Beckett's, and he is going to have, I think, quite a good opportunity at trying it into Stowe, as he is going to go on the inside into Stowe. Will Farina be able to get it done this time, as he goes wheel to wheel with Thomas Mandic? No, he cannot. He's still going to be on the outside, though, of the Croatian into Vale, as Mandic goes over the curb, and finally Luca Farina goes up into 7th position. Kulasek is going to try it as well on Mandic, but he goes over the curb and he loses it. Kulasek, and Laban Sasnishkai now senses the opportunity to try and get past Guerrero as he goes on the inside through into Abbey. Kulasek still hangs on, and he actually defends from Laban Sasnishkai. Wonderful piece of defending from Wojtek Kulasek as he stays in 9th. I was almost certain that Zasnishka would be ahead for 9th, but no. Very well done from Wojtek Kulasek. Still, the mistake did cost the Czech driver quite a lot, as we're now watching number 1, Jesper Johansson. You can see how close he is. To Dennis Graf. Even closer than Graf is to Parachki. Johansson trying to make it a Mercedes 1-2 here, as he is gonna have the slipstream, but is he close enough to try anything? No, he is not. Johansson staying behind for the time being. As we go down to the midfield again, Özkan, who is chasing down Konechina. We haven't seen much of Samet Özkan, but he has now joined the fray in this midfield battle. Konechina has been falling behind Daniel Wale at the time for the time being, as Özkan now tries it on Konechina as the two go wheel to wheel, but Emilia defends the outside line. That is going to be Samet Özkan, who has to settle for 13th for the time being. Headed to Vale, you can see there's basically nothing separating them. Özkan's all over the back of Emilia Konechina at the moment. As Özkan is still probably going to have another shot at trying it this lap, especially into here, down the straight into Brooklands and Luffield, as we watch Laban Zasnishka in the Ferrari, who is trying to chase down Wojtek Kulasek. Özkan then is going to want to get Konechina as soon as possible. Obviously has not been the best place for AlphaTauri either way. They have made up significant gains, considering that both of them were knocked out of Q1 and they're currently running 13th and 15th. So it is not bad. It's not bad at all from the pair of them, as Özkan chases Konechina through Maggots and Beckett, trying to hang on to the Alfa Romeo as best as he can, but he is going to be rewarded with the DRS down the hangar straight, and I think he's going to have a very good shot at trying it into Stowe, and here he goes on the inside of Emilia Konechina. Konechina is going to have the more favorable outside line though through Stowe, and Konechina does defend from Samet Özkan as they head into Vale, almost at Stowe, but once again Özkan unable to get past him. As look at this, Victor Albom, who was basically nowhere at the opening stages of the race, has now caught up to Emil Nilsson and trying to overtake him. So I have to say that is still a decent recovery from Victor Albom in 16th position, but still not the greatest opening race for Haas. Albom has obviously was involved in that crash with Schuto, and since then has been struggling a bit on pace, and Blackwood has just been going down and down the grid, which is a shame to see, obviously. As there is Laban Zasnishka chasing down Wojtek Kulasek in 9th. He's still trying to get past the Renault. These two have been battling the entire race, the two former teammates. As he is going to have the DRS engaged, but the question is if he will be close enough to try a move on the Czech driver, and no, he will not. Going a bit further down the field, here is Victor Albom then on Emil Nilsson, as he's going to go on the inside line of the AlphaTauri, the two going wheel to wheel, but Albom can't get it done on the inside line there. He's going to try anything into Vale, I wonder. He's going to go on the inside line, and does line himself up for a very nice move here, as he has got the overspeed compared to Nilsson. but he went over the curve there and did actually compromise himself a bit. So that is a shame for Viktor Albom. Once again, we look at Laban Sosnishka, number 74, who has been battling quite a lot this race, and he's chasing down Wojtek Kulasek. But at the moment, I think we're entering a bit more of a strategic part of the race, where drivers are going to have to try and stay back and try and think of when to make moves and conserve their tires and whatnot. As Zasnishka is gonna have a look on the inside of Kulasek, but Vojta, having none of it, shuts the door on the Serbian, and they don't go anywhere. But I think Zasnishka he has to be patient in this. Just has to be patient for the time being, and then he'll be able to get past. Viktor Albom, though, is still trying it on I almost said something, Özkan Emil Nilsson. But he can't do it just yet. Obviously, still interesting that Ferrari have really shown signs of a struggle that compared to where they were in 2019. Obviously, Ferrari not expected to be in midfield. As Zasnishka trying a late lunge into Kops. However, that did not work for the Serbian. But I think he might have a shot into Stowe, quite possibly. Either way, yeah, it's interesting to see that Ferrari just aren't where they are compared to where they were in 2019. They've really fallen off. They can't. They don't seem to be able to fight for podiums, at least not in this first stage of the season. As Viktor Albom then with the DRS is gonna try and get Emil Nilsson here. Pulls out of the slipstream, is going to be on the inside line into Stowe. Will he get it done though on the Estonian? The two were wheel to wheel, and Nilsson does fight back against the Dane, who unfortunately is not able to get past. Very good defending from Emil Nilsson, and Albom just has constantly been on the offense here. And there, in fact, just behind is Albom's teammate Blackwood in 17th. We'll see that Viktor Albom is able to get past Emil Nilsson, or if Jafari Blackwood could maybe get involved into that battle. It would be very, very interesting to see what they can do. As Zasnishka follows Kulasek through Kops, might he be trying to line up a move into Maggots and Beckett. No, stays behind for now. Think he could have a good shot into Stowe if he does not mess this up. He is going to have the DRS though. I think he could probably try and punch through this time, as he is going to be on the DRS. But is he close enough? No, he isn't. Now the Ferrari engine just isn't looking good. It just doesn't seem to be getting enough leverage down the straight. I mean, you can see he went absolutely nowhere, even with DRS. Viktor Albom, though, tries to make the best of what he can, and he's going to go on the inside line into Stowe, yet he cannot make it. Cannot get ahead of the Estonian in the AlphaTauri, Emil Nilsson. Jafari Blackwood is going to go on his teammate, though, as Albom still tries to hang on to 15th position, and now has turned into A three-way battle for 15th. All Blackwood's going to be on the inside line of his Haas teammate into Abbey. They go. Album hangs it on the outside line and does defend from Jafari Blackwood, who did try and get past his teammate. Nice battle between the two Hasses, though they are kind of fighting for the wooden spoon here, considering it is only 16th place. Which is a shame to see Haas that far down. And there's Asnishka, you can see all over the back of Wojta Kulasek. He's trying to hang on, and went a bit wide there, had to adjust his steering. And he's lost a bit of time through Maggots and Beckett's compared to Wojta Kulasek. So I don't think he will be able to get past the Czech driver. Or at least not line up a move just yet. Look at that. Absolute snap oversteer, hitting the Ferrari driver. And luckily he was able to save that. Look a bit further down the field, there is Özkan, and a bit further down is Viktor Albom, who's still putting the pressure on the rookie Emil Nilsson. Nilsson, I have to say, doing quite a good job defending from the experienced Viktor Albom. Crazy to consider that once he was in Formula 2, people tend to forget he is a race winner in Formula 2 after all. As we go back to these guys, Zasnishkai and Kulasek. Daniel Wala was involved in this battle, but he has fallen back a bit. As you can see, their gaps are quite spread out at the moment. There's Samet Özkan, who is trying it on Emilia Konishina. So the two Alpha Tauris are in battles, as Özkan is chasing down Emilia Konishina, but is it close enough to try and line up a move into Stowe? I don't think so. Or he might be, actually. I think he is going for it, and he does go for it, but it is not close enough for Samet Özkan, unfortunately, for the Swede. And he's going to stay behind for 13th at the moment. Lamas Asnishka then, obviously points on Ferrari debut, but Ferrari showing obvious signs of struggling. I don't think this will be an easy season for Farina or Zasnishka, if I am being honest. So we'll see what will happen. As Graf has absolutely fallen away from Enis Parachki, there's almost a 2-second gap to the Mercedes, and the Johansson has been kind of stuck behind his fellow world champion in second position. Once again, we look to Samet Özkan, who is still trying to attack Emilia Konishina. Look to try it into Maggots, but there was not enough space for him there, so he had to back out of the move, but it did go a bit wide, and thus he has lost time to the Alfa Romeo driver. Still gonna have DRS, and will he be able to make a move? He does go for it, but the inside line, as we know, is not the best. Into Stowe. Smart stuff by Konishina, covering the outside into Stowe. As we look for the battle for second place versus Johansson versus Graf. Johansson has been kind of hanging out in third here. He hasn't done much this race, if I'm being honest. It's just been staying behind his fellow world champion Dennis Groff in the Red Bull. But with 5 laps to go, he's gonna have to do something quick. Or not quick, but he's gonna have to try and get past. He wants to make it a Mercedes 1-2 here. But Ernest Paraschke has been absolutely dominating this race, I have to say. He's led comfortably since the start, and he's had no major threats. Not even Dennis Groff has been able to challenge him. And obviously Red Bull are outnumbered with Klaus out in the first corner. It's a 1v2 for Red Bull. As we looked at the battle for P4 with Fernando Tost versus Franco Gamba at the moment. But these guys have been in an absolute stalemate for the last 10 to 20 laps. They've just been in a stalemate. No one's been able to overtake each other. So I don't think things will change for the foreseeable future with these guys. But these guys might swap positions if Özkan does try and get close enough. You can see he just is getting close and close and close, but just not enough. He just needs a tiny bit more to be able to punch through and get up into 12th. As we look once again to Fernando Tost, who is looking to try it on Franco Gamba. Has a look on the outside of the Italian into Brooklands, but he stays behind for the time being. So he can't quite find the opportunity to get past, but he is all over that gearbox of Franco Gamba, and he has been for the last couple of laps, but just hasn't been able to do anything. Either way, McLaren will obviously be delighted with this result, 5th and 6th at the moment, as Tost chases Gamba through Maggots and Beckett. And Gamba has, remained ice cold to these laps, to be able to defend from a driver which comfortably beat him at McLaren last season. He's done a fantastic job, as Tost, I think, might try it on the inside line into Stowe. Now comes the big defending from Franco Gamba. The two are going to go wheel to wheel, though, heading out of Stowe. There's going to be side by side into the Vale chicane. Tost going to go around the outside. Gamba, though, goes over the curb, and there we go. Fernando Tost up into 4th. The waiting has paid off for the Polish driver, but I don't think Gamba will let that slide easily. He's still on the back of the Polish driver. Either way, fantastic from Fernando Tost. He waited and waited and waited, and patience has finally paid off for the McLaren driver, and now gets himself up into a brilliant 4th place. As we look to Laban Sosnishka then in 10th, he's still trying to get up into 9th. Maybe he'll have to take a page out of Fernando Tost's book and just be patient. Well, he has been patient for quite a bit, so maybe, who knows, if he could try and get past Kulasek. Either way, there's 3 laps to go, so he'll have to do it quickly. But he just needs to not get impatient here. Same with Jesper Johansson here in 3rd. The question is if he'll even be able to get ahead of Dennis Groff at this rate, because right now it is looking quite unlikely. Either way, as Johansson has DRS down the Hanger Straight and into Stowe, don't think he'll be able to do anything for the time being, unfortunately. As Sosnishka now has DRS. Is he close enough to Wojtek Kulasek? I don't think he is, and my thesis was right. Sosnishka is not close enough to Wojtek Kulasek, who himself is trying to get Thomas Mandic, but Mandic has not been able to do anything. Özkan then still chasing down Emilia Konishina, but nothing has happened here as well. It's all been a bit of a stalemate at the moment, as we are beginning to quiet down as we approach the final 2 laps of the race. Paraschke has obviously led every single lap of this Grand Prix and is looking set for win number 4 of his Formula 1 career. And it'll be very, very good for Mercedes to finish first and third. Not quite the 1-2 they would have been hoping for, but we'll see if things can change in these final 2 laps of the British Grand Prix. As there is Laban Sosnishkai. Will he be able to do anything in these final 2 laps? I do not know. Hopefully he'll be able to answer our questions very, very shortly. As they head out of Chapel, he is going to have DRS. And you can see just isn't getting the leverage down the straight, especially with Kurasek now within DRS range of Thomas Mandic. Sosnishkai has just been kind of stuck in this DRS train for quite a while. Kurasek then is at least, I think at least going to be happy with that both Renaults are in the points. 5th and 9th is still going to be a very good result for them, but McLaren, I think, are going to be the biggest gainers of this. 4th and 6th. It's going to be a fantastic result for the team in their home race. And McIntyre, I think, has put on quite a good performance. 6th in front of his home crowd. He will be pleased with that one. And even if it did perform badly, there is also the 1st anniversary Grand Prix, which is happening next week, which is also at Silverstone. Samet Özkan, fortunately no points for him to start of 2020 and for Alpha Tauri, so they'll be unfortunately going pointless after the British Grand Prix, but I guess P12, he'll be battling it out for honor with Emilia Konishina in 12th, as we're now on the final lap of the British Grand Prix, and it is gonna be Eniš Parački who I think is gonna take home the victory for Mercedes. I'm a bit tired. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. As they head through Vale, Özkan very close to Konishina, but just hasn't been able to find that little advantage over Konishina to be able to get past the Polish driver. As Özkan tries to chase her down through farm and village, there's Jafari Blackwood and Victor Albom, the two Hasses, 16th and 17th. It's gonna be it's not gonna be the best result for them, unfortunately, but yeah, some things just don't go as planned in life. Samet Özkan, is he going to be able to get Emilia Konishina? I don't know, but we're going to go onward with this man, Eniš Parački. Absolutely fantastic result. He's going to get the pole, and he's led every single lap as he only has 1 corner to go. Win number 4 on the cards as he starts off the season strong with Mercedes. Eniš Parački wins the British Grand Prix, and he takes it home for Mercedes, with Dennis Groff in 2nd and Jesper Johansson a close 3rd, and Fernando Tost brilliant 4th for the Polish driver, with Franco Gamba 5th for Renault, and Lewis McIntyre in front of the home crowd is gonna come on P6. And there we go, that's 30 laps of Silverstone done and dusted. Sosnishkai is just gonna nab 1 point for Ferrari. Daniel Wall in 11th, and there we have a final lap battle between Nilsson and Cesetti. We're going to see who's going to get this, though, as they're going to head into the Vale chicane, and side by side they're going to go. Cesetti goes over the curb, though, and Nilsson goes a bit wide, but I think he is going to get it, and Emil Nilsson is going to come home in 14th place, just ahead of Giulia Cesetti. There's the two Hasses, And there is Josef Fredrik Schuto, and I think, unfortunately, this is going to be a race to forget for the Slovakian. This really did not go his way, but he's going to be the final finisher in 18th place. And there we go. That is it. The fast lap goes to Dennis Graf. Let's go through the results of the British Grand Prix, and it is Enis Parachki who takes home the win here at Silverstone. And it is going to be Dennis Graf on his debut for Red Bull, finishes second, could not quite get the victory, but it's still P2 for Dennis, as Jesper Johansson finishes third, with Fernando Tost a brilliant fourth, and then Franco Gamba P5, a very strong P5 for Renault, and there's Lewis McIntyre in sixth. Luca Farina seventh for Ferrari, with Thomas Mandic in eighth, and we have Wojtek Kulasek in ninth, and Lavmas Nishkai P10. Rounding out the points, then it is Daniel Wala in 11th with Emilia Konishina in 12th. They only moved out one position, so unfortunately no points for them on debut. Then it's the two Alpha Tauris of Özkan and Nilsson who just got Giulia Cesetti on the final lap there. Cesetti finishes 15th ahead of the two Hasses of Victor Albom and Jafari Blackwood, and Josef Fredrik Schuto is the final finishers, and the non-finishers are Kai Shrezhnia and Alfred Klaus. And that has been it for Formula 1 and the ACOC this week. Now, before we go, I will award Driver of the Day. And my Driver of the Day will go to Enis Parachki. I think that was just a fantastic drive from the Macedonian. He once again demonstrated that he has got the skill to drive for a top team like Mercedes and that he is worthy. And I think he's done a fantastic job at taking home the win at Silverstone. And he has propelled Mercedes up to the top of the standings. So my driver of the day is Enis Parachki. But that has been it for Formula 1 and ACOC. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a very, very exciting race. Congratulations to Enis Parachki on the victory. But yeah, that's been it. The ACOC will return next weekend for the first anniversary Grand Prix. So make sure to not miss the note that we will still that will still be on the Silverstone circuit. So until then, I have been your commentator Miran Evji. Thank you for watching the ACOC this weekend, and we will return next week with the first anniversary Grand Prix. Thank you and goodbye.